Hey everyone, this is S and Pratt, and today we're going to talk about the hot new flipper trend for 2019, mystery boxes. Mystery boxes are the talk of the town, they're the hot thing on the streets right now, and for those who aren't aware, in a nutshell, what they are is low-key gambling. What you're buying in a mystery box is typically a box with a question mark with a variety of uninteresting product that might be a dented booster box, a PSA 7 Unlimited holo card, but you are ultimately purchasing a question mark. That is the product. We have gone final level. We said set aside Charizard question mark, Black Lotus question mark, trophy card question mark, Honus Wagner question mark. You're literally just purchasing the question mark. If that's not enough for you, if you're around for the housing bubble crash, this is very similar to those synthetic CDOs when they took the triple C bonds, triple B bonds, put them in a new portfolio and drew triple A on them. That's a mystery box. So we have a lot to go through here. There are a lot of very interesting points to dissect. And before I get into that, let me preface this by saying I'm not the Poke Police. I'm not trying to sound the alarm. I just want to talk about this objectively because, in my opinion, principally, it's something I disagree with and I would never recommend to anyone because it's very, very high risk. So let's start with the baseline that mystery boxes are inherently a mystery. You don't know what you're going to get and you are entirely reliant on the seller, the individual repackaging them. Very similar to raffles, you are 100% reliant on the individual who is selling you this product. Moreover, we have a lot of fallacies to go through, and the number one that I see over and over again is, well, you'll receive 100% value. And I think for the reputable individuals out there, that will probably be true. However, there's a caveat. The product you're going to receive has artificial liquidity. You might receive some items. We've got a mystery box just lying right here on the ground. You might receive a nice hat that you can wear in videos. You might get a Generations pin box, and this is a great example. This might sell for maybe $20, but it won't sell immediately. So the artificial liquidity comes from the gambling element, the question mark that you're buying, the mystique, the mystery. You know, when you want to buy something as hot and fresh as this and exclusive, you can just go to PokemonCenter.com and probably buy it for like $25 directly. But if you want to pay $100 to $200 to $500 to $1,000 to $5,000, all real prices for these boxes, you might get two of those. So that is the ultimate problem at the end of the day, is that even if there is 100% value, there's an artificial liquidity element to it, because if you broke down that value, especially when you get into the $2,000 to $3,000 to $5,000 range, you're getting into a good chunk of inventory that naturally takes time to sell. So if you truly pieced out all of those products and tried to sell them properly, they would take easily months on end to move all that product at the value that you are purchasing. So I think that's the biggest misnomer with the 100%, 110% value fallacy, is that there's artificial liquidity because they are liquidating that product inorganically by putting a question mark on the package. So that's the number one fallacy that I see through and through with everyone. And again, it's entirely reliant on the trust of the individual doing it. Number two, well, why can't I do a mystery box? Because booster boxes are random, right? These are random. We don't know what it's going to contain. There's a lot in this one. There's a lot to go through in this one. So number one, anyone selling a mystery box doesn't own the IP of Pokemon. Pokemon owns the IP. Super simple stuff. Pokemon owns Pokemon. Big brain meme right there. Moreover, this right here is not going to contain a first edition Charizard. It's not going to contain a Victory Ring. It's not going to contain a Pokemon plush. It's not going to contain Scumbag Pratt hat. It's going to only contain the All-Star GX set. Also, that product is randomly organized through a factory. That is how that product is produced. And that's the organic fun of opening a pack. I am buying this for the market value. Right now it's like sub $100 for this new box. And you open it up, you enjoy it, that's the end of it. There isn't this premium attached to the gambling element, the artificial element. They're not getting a kickback. Pokemon's not getting a kickback from that. Again, they created this. They had to hire the artists and consign them. They had to pay for the facility to produce this card, the ink to produce it, all of this cost that they do because they own the product, again, the IP. Therefore, they're producing the product, bring it directly to market, and this is how hobbies work. This is how they survive. So when you're taking this type of product, repackaging it, and saying, well, booster boxes are random, ultimately they aren't. And moreover, when you're saying random, the amount of randomness in a booster box is still very contained. Again, I'm not going to magically pull a trophy card out of one of these boxes. I'm not going to magically pull an already PSA 6 graded card from that box. So that is the difference. Is number one, you don't own the IP as a seller. You don't have the free reign to design a set and then release that set randomly in packs. And ultimately, people are stuffing them with graded cards, a mixture of things that you just would never organically pull. So the idea that, oh, well, booster boxes is random is, again, another fallacy that hits and misses a ton. Like, it hits a whole bunch of just false positives and a whole bunch of false correlations. And that's another big fallacy that I receive is, well, booster boxes are random, so therefore I can randomize myself. No, you don't own the IP. You don't own that ability to randomize product. It's literally lottery. And getting into our other fallacy, these auctions have been removed from eBay because they violate that gambling element. They violate that lottery policy. And keep in mind, eBay removes nothing, like nothing. There are plenty of fake auctions, scam auctions, shield auctions piled on that don't get removed. So when eBay is actually removing a listing because it violates their gambling policy, you got to add that context of eBay doesn't remove anything. So it's bona fide, straight up gambling at the end of the day. Now, another pro tip that I can give you, this is perhaps the most like bullseye, juicy, like just 100% PSA 10 answer here. This sealed is worthless over time. If I take any box, this box, any box I have lying around, we got a Pokecune over here with a case that doesn't want to let go. These boxes have intrinsic value over time. They have value that typically grows, that at least sustains and grows with time. If you hold one of these beauties back here for 5 years, 10 years, there's going to be no change in value because no one knows what's inside. Again, dissecting this idea of randomness, we know the card checklist for All-Star GX. We don't know the card checklist for Mystery Box. There's no way to check because you're just going to go through an infinite amount of question marks. It's just 1 million question marks over and over again. So that's probably the biggest pro tip I can give you is that there is no sealed value to a Mystery Box. There's sealed value to literally every single Pokemon product. And that doesn't mean it's going to go up. That doesn't mean they're all going to move the same way. Even if some of them depreciate a bit over time or stay the same, there's still inherent value to that product. You'll still be able to sell that on the open market because, again, it's proper. It's proper released sealed product. And one of the more abstract fallacies I hear from people, very similar to fake cards, very similar to the reasoning for why people dip into the Shade City stuff, why they start doing the fast money, movement because they're impatient. Well, I can't compete. I can't compete with the big stores. I can't compete with the Troll and Toads, the DA Card Worlds, things like that. So what am I supposed to do? Poor old me. The problem with this is that ultimately it's redundant. That's the easiest way to just step aside all the emotional fallacies, just get straight to it. It's a redundant argument. If all of these stores were doing the same thing, for the same reasons you can't compete now legitimately, would be the same reasons you couldn't compete if everyone did mystery boxes. So in that same context of why you can't compete organically by selling boxes, graded cards, whatever it is, if you just change that variable to every single store, those big stores who are throwing around millions of dollars a year in capital, they would just wipe the floor with mystery boxes. They would optimize that market as well. So if that is your argument, it's ultimately redundant because if you just shift the variable there, a product that's being sold, they're going to just do that simply more efficiently than you as well. So at the end of the day, there is no real legitimate reason for mystery boxes. And let me just reemphasize it again. I'm not trying to be the pokey police here. I just want to get these objective points out there that aren't opinions. It's not an opinion that this is gambling. It's not an opinion that we don't know what's in the boxes. It's not an opinion that these aren't proper sets released by Pokemon under the IP or that they have any inherent value whatsoever or will grow in value. This is all stuff that's just inherent to what they are. So I'm not trying to ring the alarm bells. I'm just trying to make people aware of this new trend. It's something I have been offered to promote and I never will. It's something I never like dipping into this stuff. It's the epitome of short-term gain for long-term risk. It's not something I would ever recommend to anyone, buyer or seller. It's just people being impatient and not letting time and their hard work pay dividends over time. And more importantly, I think the best thing I can give you is if you're spending even $100, $200, some of these are in the thousands, $2,000, $5,000. just go buy the actual product. Like, go buy the box you want. Go buy the prize card you want, the set card you want, the booster pack you want, whatever it is. You actually own that item. You buy it directly, pay for it, you get it. It's super simple stuff. So that's what I would recommend to people is don't let that little itch, that little tick of what could it be? It's a mystery. Just go buy the product you want. Because boxes are organically exciting enough. The contained randomness and the potential of what you can pull is what's exciting at the end of the day. It's exciting to buy a base box because you're straddling that fence of randomness and partly what you know is in that box. Because the known potential of what I can pull is why we buy sealed product. That's the ultimate point. I go buy a base box and I pay a premium for a base box because I have that potential of pulling Charizard. You should never be paying for a premium on something that's completely unknown. Because again, you're entirely reliant on an individual. You're not reliant on something you can verify objectively that's made by a company that I can go verify online and see numerous examples of the same product open over and over and over again. And again, that marriage of the contained randomness and the known potential that I can pull a certain card from a certain box is what it's all about at the end of the day. That's what makes this exciting for everyone. That's why we're here. That's why we're engaged. It's because of the marriage of those two things combined, not the entire shift of it being just a blatant mystery full of who knows what. And that is what I have, guys. That's what I have for mystery boxes, is that it's a huge mystery that has no happy ending because there's no way to know. There's nothing here worth your time. When people will say, well, what about the $100? Who cares? It's just $50 or whatever it is. Spend that on an actual card. Go buy an actual box, an actual pack. That's my ultimate recommendation. Ultimately, it's something I just can't ever support. Again, I'm trying to ride the line here and not spit flames or anything like that. But that's what I have, guys, for mystery boxes. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel. I know it's a bit more controversial. I think most people are on that side, though, where they understand, especially when you're spending thousands of dollars, you get in that cost of capital bracket where you could buy some really primo stuff with $1,000. So there it is. You know the deal. Let me know how you feel. Till next time, guys.